guys, as you may all be aware, we are coming to the end of Season 11 and we'll be moving into our delayed Season 12, releasing soon in November. But more importantly, we'll be moving into the next major expansion known as Beyond Light. And that'll kick off the start of Year 4, and of course, there is a lot of changes coming to effect in with this new content. So guys, I am Divide and this is my full expansion Beyond Light prep guide. And there's a lot to cover here, so I'm going to do my best to cover everything in as much detail as I possibly can. So sit back, relax, grab some snacks, and I hope you guys find this one useful. So guys, let's get started. So just briefly before we start, let's make our breakdown list of what we'll be looking at. And guys, as usual, timestamps will be in the description to make this easier for you. Content, Vault and Sunsetting Overview. In this section we will look at the basics of content vaulting and sunsetting, and the major things you should consider to complete. You can also view my other video where I go into a lot more detail. There should be a card on screen to this now. Finishing Season of Arrivals content. Like my previous prep videos, we will look at the seasonal content that will be removed. This does not include the content vaulting stuff. If you want the full list of completely everything being removed, you can check out my other video or view the list linked below. Stockpile, all those useful materials you want to save and how you can be efficient collecting them and stockpiling them using small cheesy tricks. And of course, bounties. The bounties you should start to save that will grant the most XP at the start of the next DLC. Although be warned, due to a lot of major changes in the next expansion, this may not work anymore, but it's here if you want to risk it. So guys, let's get straight into our first main topic. The Destiny Content Vault. What is it? So a quick summary of this. The Destiny Content Vault is where Bungie will remove old content from Destiny 2 and bring back old content from Destiny 1 and 2 in the future. So for example, Bungie are removing the planet Io and its activities, which means that perhaps in 2 years time they may bring Io back with it completely reworked with new locations, strikes, stories and other secrets and so on. They are essentially taking content out to make room for new content. So what is being vaulted? Well, the main things you should note that are being removed are Mars, Io, Titan, Mercury and Leviathan, and all their supported PvE activities, including campaigns. This will mean you'll no longer be able to obtain gear, triumphs and experience any kind of content within those destinations. So if there's something you want to do or explore and experience, then now is the time to do it. This will be removed at the launch of Beyond Light in the delayed release of November 2020. In the description of this video will be a link to my other video that goes into full depth of everything being removed. So check that out if you want to see more information on this to see exactly everything that you may want to get done. Think of it like a checklist or a to-do list. But there's also weapon and gear sunsetting. This means that weapons and armour now have a capped power limit to infuse. So things like the Recluse and Mountaintop will be capped at 1060, meaning that next season and onwards you cannot infuse them any higher than 1060 power. If you look at the icon on gear and look at the detail panel, you can see what the max infusion cap is, so I'd recommend farming for new gear this season so you're ready for the next season. There are some favourites people currently like, such as Truth Teller as a replacement for Mountaintop, and Death Adder or the Ikelos SMG as a replacement for Recluse. They're not better than those, but it's better than nothing at all. I'll leave links to useful sources down below to help you guys out more on this topic. So that is the basic overview of the Content Vault, but now let's move on to our next topic of finishing Season 11 content. When Season of Arrivals ends, so will most of its featured content. So here we are looking at the main things being removed that you should be aware of. And just to quickly mention again, this does not include the content vaulting stuff, that's completely separate. Here we are just looking at the seasonal content. So first up we have the Season Pass and rewards. If you're a Season Pass holder, you can get the new armour, ornaments and all those rewards on there. So I'd strongly recommend getting to rank 100 if you want to make the most of it. Or rank 200 if you want to get the plus 20 bonus triumph. And honestly, the best way to level up fast really is to just do bounties. I'd recommend doing the Moon, Gunsmith and recast the bounties on the Moon if you want to get those ranks up a bit quicker. The Contact public events, these are on Io and Titan and will no longer be there next season. At least I wouldn't expect it to be, considering the planets are going as well. So definitely do them now if there's any reason you need to or want to do them. There are also triumphs associated with them, so perhaps that's something you may want to do. A prismatic recaster, this will be removed, so head over to it near the drifter and stock up on your favourite weapons for next season, as some are pretty useful right now, like the Ikelos SMG. You also want to grab everything you can, like the mods, and rank up as much as you can to get those free Umbral Ingrams. Then you have the new exotic quests, so that will be the Effigy Trace Rifle and its Catalyst, in which you are required to go into the Prophecy Dungeon to shoot down those eyes. And you also have other quests and specific stuff. This will be things like any new exotic quests that come out between now and the end of the season, along with any seasonal quests and your weekly interference mission, as well as the evacuation quests. The Prophecy Dungeon itself, I believe you can get the Ikelos Shotgun and Death Adder from here, which are two great weapons, so I would want to grab those and try and get a good PvE rule, as it's pretty good in PvE right now. And triumphs, so finally you have your season 11 triumphs which you can get done if you are a triumphist and want to complete them all. There's a load of easy ones, and then you have some harder ones like the Solar Flawless Prophecy Dungeon and stuff like that. And that about covers the seasonal content, so now let's go ahead and collect some resources to stockpile. Stockpiling can be difficult for new light players, especially those who have literally just started out, as you'll have nothing right now. So let's take a look at what we should be saving for the next season and the most efficient ways to stockpile them. But remember, we're moving into a new DLC expansion, so expect new materials you won't have right away. For now, here's the full list, and then we'll break it down. Glimmer, legendary shards, mod components, enhancement cores, enhancement prisms, ascendant shards, upgrade modules, planetary materials, and bright dust. Let's start with Glimmer, as it's the most common. So if you've watched my previous prep guides, you'll know that we used a vault to act as a small savings bank account for our Glimmer. So how do we do this again? Well, it's pretty simple really. You'll just want to buy and store specific sparrows from the collections and buy your Glimmer from Spider, or just earn it in game and bank as you play. So for example, the best way to do this is to buy the other side or the overdrive sparrow for 7,500 Glimmer and 5 shards. Then store them in the vault. So you'll need some vault space. Eventually, when you're desperate for Glimmer, you can sell them and get 5,000 Glimmer back and 5 shards back. So you're only losing 2,500 Glimmer technically, and perhaps some resources and shards if you bought the Glimmer from Spider. However, it's a good little trick to stockpile it for when you really need it. For a quick reference, 50 of these sparrows in the vault would be stockpiling 250,000 Glimmer and 250 shards, wasting only 125,000 Glimmer in total. So max out your Glimmer this season and keep some sparrows in the vault for next season. For legendary shards, you'll want to save these. The more you have, the better. The best way now to farm these are to get Umbral Ingrams by farming in nightmare hunts and contact public events, or just earn them from challenges, packages and legendary gear dismantling. It's honestly not too difficult to save as a regular player, but it may be if you're just starting out. Mod components, you can buy these from Ada 1 while she is still here with us until the end of the season, or do Gunsmith Bounties. Enhancement cores, earn these from a chance of dismantling legendary gear, dismantle masterwork gear, the Clangram challenge for 7 cores, Gunsmith Bounties, buy them from Spider, or farm them in a Nightfall or Deal, which is probably your best bet. Enhancement prisms, you're limited to 50 in your inventory, but you can stockpile an additional 150 of these in your Postmaster. To do this, you want to have maxed out your stack in your inventory at 50, and then any new prisms you get will be sent to the Postmaster. It's as simple as that. The best way to do this is to do the final boss of the Pit of Heresy and scrap the Masterwork Pinnacle gear each week. Do this on all 3 characters every week, and you should be done in no time. You can also buy them from Gunsmith at the tower if you're low. Remember though, you can only stack 50 per character's Postmaster. Ascendant shards, the quickest way to do this is to do the Master or Grandmaster Nightfalls. Farm out the easiest and quickest ones like Lake of Shadows when it next comes around if it does. Otherwise, trade with Gunsmith at the tower for a ridiculous price. And then there's upgrade modules. Stock up on these by buying them from Gunsmith at the tower. Like prisms, you can also store additional ones in your Postmaster, although it's a bit more tricky to do so as obtaining them from external sources like the Season Pass may not be an option this late in the season. Planetary Materials, that's the EDZ, Nessus, Tangled Shore, Dreaming City and the Moon ones. I'd keep around a few thousand of each just to be safe. You can also buy all these from Spider or collect them at their destinations, or obtain them from completed planet bounties. And finally, Bright Dust, the big never-ending growing stock of Eververse. So go ahead and complete all your weekly Bright Dust bounties to stock up on this for the next season of new Eververse items. And that about wraps it up for the stockpile. So now guys, let's move on to our bounty prep and see how much XP we can prepare. Like any other previous season, we can complete bounties and keep them in our inventory to hand in during the next season. Doing this allows us to instantly, at the start of the new season, gain a crazy amount of XP. Doing this in a really efficient way can give you about up to 20 ranks on the season pass before you even start shooting or doing any new content. This is important, especially in a new major DLC expansion, as everyone may be racing for that high power level for the world's first raid race. Now a quick note before we start this topic breakdown. Due to Destiny 2 heading into a new year and the way they are changing the game, this may or may not still work, but a lot of people believe it will work, and regardless they are going to try and prep. So just be aware of that. But now guys, just like the old prep videos, I'm going to use the same strategy. So let's bounty prep. So to get started, at every weekly reset up until the season reset, go on over to the tower and pick up the following: 2 weekly Vanguard bounties, 6 daily Vanguard bounties, 2 weekly Crucible bounties, 6 daily Crucible bounties, 2 weekly Gambit bounties, 6 daily Gambit bounties, 2 weekly Gunsmith bounties, 6 daily Gunsmith bounties, the Moon Lost Sector weekly bounty, and the Moon daily bounties. If you want to be more effective with your XP games, pick up as well as this: 2 Nightmare weekly bounties, the Altar of Sorrows weekly bounty, all Iron Banner weekly bounties, but be warned these may not work and carry over, all Prismatic Recaster weekly bounties, and any other event weekly bounties such as Solstice of Heroes or the Festival of the Lost weekly bounties, and pick up any other Gunsmith weekly bounties that may occur each week. Fill all your remaining bounties with the EDZ, Moon and Nessus daily bounties, then any repeatables if you have space, but prioritise your bounties in this order to be the most effective with your XP. Iron Banner bounties, event weekly bounties, daily bounties, repeatable bounties, and then spider bounties. On screen now are the XP values for bounties, so prioritise the ones with the most XP first. I will leave a link to the full spreadsheet of the XP values in the description if you want to see the exact amounts with XP boosts and ghost shells, etc. But on top of these bounties for XP, you should be getting the weekly powerful challenges done too, assuming they don't change that. But you'll probably have to get to the new season's soft cap before handing the bounties in. And that about wraps it up for bounties, and well, wraps up the video in general. But just remember that this may or may not still work, but it's had no problem in previous seasons. However, this is a yearly reset, so things are most certainly going to change. But guys, if you found this one useful, then please leave a rating and comment, as your feedback is much appreciated and really helps my small channel. Subscribe if you're new for more, as I'll be covering a lot more things when Beyond Light releases. But now guys, whatever you do, keep on the grind, and I'll see you all in the next video.